On this episode of the Best of Bias podcast, we talking fantasy football, y'all. The season is finally here. The NFL season is finally here. So we're going to go over all the week one matchups for the NFL, as well as talk some fantasy week one matchups for my fantasy Best of Bias Invitational 2022 league. So we're going to go over those 6 matchups. So we got 12-man league, so it's 6 matchups this week. And then we're going to go over all the NFL matchups. So we got a lot on here. Sports episode. Sorry if you're not into sports this week. It's all sports because we got the NFL starting. So I'm excited for that. Talk some NFL details. We got a bunch of stuff in this episode. So stick around. It's going to be a good one. Enjoy the pod. It's the Best of Bias. Yeah.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy Lydell Dinero. You already know what it is. We're in the building, and we're ready for another podcast today. Man, we're gonna get right into it. It's fantasy football time, NFL time of the year. I know everybody's excited. I know I'm excited. The Bucks are back to playing. You know what I'm saying? Whoever your favorite team is, they probably back to playing. And my time of the year, I call it my time of the year because I'll be dominating in fantasy at this time of the year. If you know me, I am the fantasy, I won't say guru, but I'm pretty damn good at it. I win a lot. I would say I've been playing for the last, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years, like seriously for big money, not for that free shit. And I've legitimately won 4 out of the 7 years I've played. Some back-to-back, and I'm going for another back-to-back this year. If you heard the last podcast, I recapped our Best of Bias Invitational. Every year, the Best of Bias gets a couple of the guys together. We do a draft, and we kind of just let everybody know what's going on with us, and we just kind of put it out there. We do a live draft. We get together. We know everybody does their little draft shenanigans, and we got it. We did that, and we reviewed it last episode. But this time it's week one. The matchups are here. The NFL has started, like I said, multiple times this episode. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of excited. But yeah, we'll talk about all that. But first and foremost, I hope everybody out here in the Bay Area, if you're in California right now in general, you are staying cool because it's crazy out here right now. Super record highs out here in the Bay Area. I don't know where you stay in the Bay Area, but anywhere it's in the triple digits. Places that are really close to the water, that don't reach high digits like ever. You know, it's record-breaking, history-breaking numbers out here. We're talking 113s in Sacramento. That's not the Bay Area per se, but that's California still. It is hot. Out here in Antioch, it was 113. Walnut Creek, it was 111 yesterday. Sunnyvale is 107. It's like these are Vegas temperatures, Arizona temperatures that we kind of talk about in jest, and like, oh, this is gonna be hella hot out there. You don't want to go out there without me personally, if we go into these extreme climates, we better be partying or going somewhere to have a good time. While we at home in California in the Bay Area, it's not supposed to be this hot. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there really is that weather gun. Mother Earth is just giving up on us. You know, we just have had such an adverse effect on the planet that it's like, fuck. Each summer it does seem like it's getting hotter and hotter. And all this dry land out here is just kind of scary, especially if you were up in Chico a couple of years ago. There's a bunch of wildfires due to the heat, a bunch of power grid meltdowns and shit like that. So it's scary, man. Not only can shit get hella hot, power can go out, and everybody's ACs, the things that's providing the cooling, can go out at any time too. So it's kind of a catch-22 out here. So it's dangerous times. Everybody stay cool the best way you can. Find a pool, find somebody with the pool. Don't walk the dogs, man, because people know the puppy pads on the bottom of these dogs' feet, they get burnt up on the asphalt. The asphalt's a lot hotter than it is outside. So if it's 117 degrees outside, it's going to be like 200 degrees on that asphalt. So keep the fur babies inside, keep the pups inside, wait till it gets a little cooler at the end of the week, or maybe even next week to walk them. I'm sorry, I know they're probably gonna be hella like anxious inside. Try to get out in the morning if you are gonna walk them, because it's already like $80 degrees in the morning time when you first wake up. So, and it's climbing from there. By noon it's already in the hundreds. So just, if you need to walk the dogs, get them out in the morning. Let the cats inside, you know what I'm saying? just look out for everybody. Everybody be safe and be careful out there because it is steaming. But without further ado, actually, let me just touch on this briefly because I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You already know what's good. I'm an Oregon fan. Last week was the first real week of college football. One of the first premier games of the year, Oregon versus Georgia. I kind of hyped it up the last couple of weeks thinking that all these recruits and stuff, we were kind of in shambles once Cristobal left. But once Dan Lanning came in and, brought a bunch of recruits to our team this year, did what he can in the late recruiting cycle, I thought we were going to be ready. Get Bo Nix in there from Auburn. He's been around, fifth year, 6-year senior, kind of can lead this young team to, prominence and just kind of maybe get another upset like we did last year. Last year we beat Ohio State and were able to upset them on national TV. We thought we would see more of the same this year. We thought we had a better quarterback, Anthony Brown. We thought wasn't good enough throwing the ball. And as we see, I think it was more so Cristobal holding him back. But nonetheless, we went out there and laid an egg, got beat 43 to 3. Yeah, I think it was it might have been 49-3 or some shit like that. I don't remember. Either way, we got blown out. We didn't even score a touchdown. Watching the game, it was just left me super clueless. You know what I mean? At first, when I heard about it during the offseason of last year, we're going to play Georgia after they just won the national championship. I thought it was going to be a good measuring stick for us, a good game for us to go out there and kind of just see what we had and see if we can, because this whole changing divisions, changing conferences and shit is going down, and people are looking at us to see if they want to accept us into their conference, Big 10, Big 12, other people like that. And we're trying to hold up with recruiting with, the big dogs, the SECs, the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Georgias and stuff like that. So we thought we could be on that playing field. We thought we were close to being there. But this Saturday at 12:30, man, Pacific time, it showed us that we definitely weren't. First and foremost, I was kind of disappointed at the running back rotation. Me, I'm a running back. So I'm going to talk about that first. We had a bunch of transfers and first-year guys that weren't even on the team last year that were starting. Some Minnesota transfers and some people like that coming in before Byron Cardwell, Sean Dollars. What's going on with that? We need these guys playing. They've been here putting their time, waiting behind, Vardell and Travis Dye, which I have a kind of adverse feelings about right now. I ain't gonna talk down on his name because he did a lot for us in the past, but him going to USC right now and talking shit saying it's the best locker room he's ever been in, that's kind of wild, Travis. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it low because I fuck with your brother, you know what I'm saying? But man, it's just looking kind of crazy right now. But yeah, our running back room, I did hear that we got a bunch of people over the offseason, so it's just kind of crazy to see that after seeing what Byron Cardwell was able to do at the end of last season, that he wasn't actually starting. He was like the third running back to get in, which was crazy to me. Our receivers, we've been recruiting crazy at receiver. We have dynamic receivers, and it always seems like every game we cannot throw the ball. I don't know if we have a whole new offensive coordinator, a whole new coaching staff, so I can't blame it on Cristobal at this point because we have a whole new quarterback. Bo has been in the SEC. He's played for Auburn for a long time, so he's proven there. He could play with the Georgias and the Alabamas and stuff of the world. So this shouldn't be new to him. I just don't know what happened. Our passing game looks so minuscule. When I was watching it, it seemed like a whole bunch of the passes were going to the running back side of the backfield. There's no trust in the receivers, which we have 5 4-stars all over the place. A bunch of great tight ends. The tight ends did get some catches, but I'm sure it was just kind of like short routes. And it's like, even when we were in the red zone getting blown out, we decided to kick a field goal instead of going for the touchdown, which was stupid as well. We didn't show no backbone. We were the laughing stock of week 1, and it just let people know that Oregon wasn't ready to be on the same playing field as any SEC team, and it gives the Big Ten even more reason to not let us in the Big Ten because we aren't ready for that competition, which I feel like we really are, and especially when we get Dante Manning next year, and a bunch of the 5-star and 4-star Jerrion Dickey and a whole Dante Dowell, a bunch of guys coming in next year that are highly recruited. And I think that are going to be ready to go and ready to take us to the next level, man, because that game 1 isn't indicative of what the Oregon program is. And I'm sure that against Eastern Washington and Autzen this week, we're going to be able to, put on a show and actually show what we're really made of. And I'm hoping that, again, because BYU, we played them week 3 and they're ranked. I hope we can go in there and do something against them as well. And just show the fans and show the whole Oregon following that the week 1 was just a fluke. They're the national champions. They did what they were supposed to do. Stetson Bennett actually showed he you know, he can do some shit because he had, you know, he was untouched the whole game, had like 300 yards, a bunch of touchdowns, and the running backs were getting off as well. So we have a whole bunch to make because our defense, we're supposed to have these highly touted DBs and linebackers and stuff, but all these receivers from Georgia were getting wide open in zones and all that kind of shit, and it was embarrassing. All my family members hit me up talking shit during the game, and I just had to sit in it. I'm happy it's Thursday or, you know, Friday if you're listening to this now. There's a whole new week of football, so Saturday we can redeem ourselves, and I'm hopeful that all this stuff from last week is just that Georgia is that good of a team and they're probably going to repeat as champions or something crazy like that. Or we're just going to be waiting out another year to make it to the college football playoff, or wait until 2026 because they did pass that they are going to expand the college football playoff to 12 teams. So it's going to be mostly like the winner of each Power 5 division plus some other winners and shit like that. But I don't want that to be the only way we can make it. I want to prove that we can make it in there again. We were part of it in the first college football playoff when we had Marcus Mariota. So I want to get back there and show, you know, we can get back, and we deserve to. We work hard, man. And like I said last week, it's not indicative of what we are as a program. I say we, but, you know, I've been following them all year, and I was so excited to see what we were going to do, and it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing. But I'm not going to dwell on that so much because we have a whole bunch of NFL to talk about and a whole bunch of fantasy to talk about. So I'm going to move on. Week 1 in the NFL is here. I know everybody's excited. I'm excited. The Bucks play the Cowboys again. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that game first, even though it's not the first game, but it's the Bucks, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Tom Brady, like I said in the past podcast, was away from the team for 11 days, doing whatever he was doing. Personal issues, and I'm not gonna dwell on that at all, even though people are kind of saying that him and Giselle are on the rocks right now because he decided to come out of retirement. I don't know anything about that, and I don't like to dwell on these professional players' personal lives, especially in season when we're supposed to be playing football. So I don't like to go touch on that too much, but people are kind of doubting our team. We had some interior line problems. Ryan Jensen did hurt his knee. Robert Hainsey did get hurt in the preseason, so people think he's kind of injury prone, and we're not going to be able to hold up in the middle. We do have a new left tackle. Shaq Mason came over for a 5th round pick from the New England Patriots as Ali Marpet retired early at 28 after we won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He just, you know, decided he didn't want to play no more. He wanted to do different things, and I respect it. Thank you, Ali, for everything you've done for us. But bringing in Shaq Mason, a proven Pro Bowler, I feel like it's a wash for that. I feel like we're good there. Center, I mean, I don't know. Our team trusts Robert Hainsey. He's been on the team for a little while, and I guess they're showing confidence in him. I'm hoping he can hold up and not get hurt as much as he has been in practice and in the preseason, but hope that's okay. In our right tackle, we have Luke Gadecki coming out of, I want to say Iowa, but I'm not too sure exactly. Maybe Central Michigan, some shit like that. I should remember this because it was a 3rd round pick of ours. But anyway, he's a guard that's going to start. He's supposed to be a mean guy like Ryan Jensen. So I think that'll add some nastiness to the right side of the line because we already have Tristan Wirfs over there. And Robert Hainsey in the middle. And we got Shaq Mason on the left with Donovan Smith at left tackle. So I'm hoping they can hold up. Chris Godwin is back. He's been practicing this week without a knee brace, full go. Me personally, I don't want him to play this week against the Cowboys or week 2 against the Saints because the Saints is who we got hurt against. So I want him to kind of avoid that game, at least the first matchup. Charlie Gardner-Johnson or whatever his name is gone. So we don't have that dirty player out there trying to kill him. But Dennis Allen was part of the was he part? I don't think he was part of Bounty Gate, but the team is known for Bounty Gate. So I don't want them to go out there trying to headhunt or hurt any of our players due to our rivalry we have over there. So, you know what I'm saying? Jason, keep your players in check because we don't want none of that. Mike Evans ready to go. Julio changed his number to 6, you know what I'm saying, out there rocking. We thought he was going to be 85. Good thing he's not because the 85 was kind of ugly. But wearing number 6, you got Mike out there ready to go. I think Russell Gage is going to be a full go. Lenny's a full go. Rashad White, which I wanted him to be RB number 2. I think he's going to get that spot, so I'm ready for him to go. But our defense is what's going to make the biggest difference, I think. Our defensive line got rejuvenated with younger people. Excuse me. Let me not get in the mush mouth mode so early. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we got Logan Hall out of Houston replacing JPP along with Akeem Hicks. He's a veteran, but he's a big boy, proven veteran from Chicago Bears. Him and big old Vita Vea in the middle gonna stop some shit. We got William Golston at our other end, and then at outside linebackers, we got Joe Tryon Shoyinka, We also have on the other side, of course, Shaq Barrett. We signed Carl Nassib as well to back up some of our outside linebackers for depth as well. So we have a bunch of pass rushers out there ready to come get the quarterback. And then our DBs, which was all hurt last year, we had the makeshift sign Richard Sherman for crying out loud coming when he should have been retired. Carlton Davis at the 1, Jamel Dean coming back, hopefully to be healthy all year. He's starting at the 2. Sean Murphy Bunting is playing in the slot. Safety, of course, we got Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards starting at strong safety, with Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal backing them up. And of course, that middle linebacker, we got them boys, Devin White and Levante David, you know what I'm saying, holding down the middle. Just signed Kenny Young, former Los Angeles Rams. I think he was the guy that hurt Gronk last year. So we got another hitter in the middle, hopefully that can hold it down. But as a whole, I think we're ready to play this year. Hopefully Tom Brady can come back ready to play. I know he's going to put up some points with that offense that we have. We don't have Rob Gronkowski no more, but we do still have Cameron Brate, signed Kate Otten out of Washington, who I think is going to be a sleeper. He'll be really good this year. And we signed Kyle Rudolph, who is a veteran, who's probably going to be used more in a blocking type of way and used as the mentor. And just in case anybody gets hurt, he's a veteran out there who can go out there and play, you know, right away and pick up the playbook right away. And I like that he's wearing number 8. It looks kind of saucy on a big tight end, but yeah, week 1, we play the Cowboys. I don't know. A lot of my Cowboys fan friends are kind of confident still, like they always are, of course, even though they lost their left tackle, Tyron Smith, to a really bad, I don't know if I think it was a hamstring injury that came off the bone or some shit like that. So he might be done indefinitely for a while. They signed Jason Peters, but I couldn't imagine that he's going to be ready for week 1. So that line is kind of makeshift right now, but Ezekiel Elliott's always been a hard runner. So I don't doubt that he's going to do his thing there, him and Tony Pollard. Zeke has always been able to spread the ball around no matter what receivers were out there. This year's going to be a little different because you don't have Mike Gallup or Amari Cooper anymore. He got traded to the Browns for like a 6th-round, 5th-round pick, which is crazy. But CeeDee Lamb is the only guy there. Jalen Tolbert, they drafted this year. They had James Washington, who I fucked with a lot, but he got hurt as well. Michael Gallup's coming off a knee injury. May not come back to like week 4. They didn't put him on the pup, but I don't think he's ready, just like in the kind of Chris Godwin situation. I think Chris Godwin's a little more ahead than Gallup is, but I don't think he's ready yet. But of course, you got their defense with D-Law coming back, and you got Micah Parsons out there bringing heat on the edges. But the subtraction of Randy Gregory, but Anthony Barr might be a sleeper as well coming off the other side. So we got to stay awake and be ready for all that shit. And their DBs, Trayvon Diggs is pretty good. Anthony Brown is susceptible to some crazy shit. I don't think they'll be able to hold us DB wise against our receivers because, you know, we got Julio and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I don't think he's going to play, but Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, I think that'll be enough to, you know, get Tom Brady enough targets to get open. The Cowboys will have to score with us more so than stop our offense because they're probably not going to do that. And I think we're just going to be able to outscore them. Last year was a really high scoring game and we won by a field goal or something like that, maybe even 2 points. This year, I'm hoping that we can win by a little bit more so we can go into the season confident and show that Tom Brady is ready to go and focused amid all that crazy shit that's going on in the offseason. That's just the Buccaneers. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. And I'm hoping the Bucs win, of course. I'm just going to not predict anything because I'm not the type to be hella confident about the Bucs because growing up and coming up, you know what I'm saying, the Bucs have been, you know, kind of susceptible to jinx and a whole bunch of shit happening that I don't want to happen. So I don't want to jinx anything. I'm just hoping we come out there and play the best football we can and try to get another ring before Tom Brady is done. But the first game that is for NFL Week 1 that's coming out, actually, it came out yesterday. If you listen to this on Friday, it came out. It was played. It's the Rams versus the Bills. The Bills are favored by 2, and the Rams are at home, which is kind of crazy. Everybody's on the Bills this year. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of hype. I mean, they may be the most loaded AFC team with the acquisition of Von Miller. I heard Tre'Davious White's not going to be playing the week 1, which is very important when you have Cooper Kupp on the other side and Allen Robinson on the other side. But it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. The whole Stafford's elbow thing, they say it's fine, but I don't know if they're telling the truth. There could be some gamesmanship there. The Rams running backs aren't that healthy. And, you know, the Bills do have a good defense, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be as good as the Rams. They got Bobby Wagner this year, of course, Aaron Donald. Jalen Ramsey's going to be good to go. Yeah, so I think the Rams are ready to try to get back to that Super Bowl, and they may have a chance to do that. But of course, I'm not going to predict that because I think the Bucks are going to do their thing and beat them in the NFC Championship. But me and Derek, we'll talk about that a little later. But it's going to be a good game to open the season. I think it's going to be on Amazon. I think they're doing Thursday night games on Amazon. I could be wrong. I don't know if they're going to do opening day, the opening game on that Amazon. I think it might be the next Thursday game, but we will see. It's going to be a great game, a high-scoring game. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how good the Bills actually are. All this talk is kind of making me upset because I don't think they earned that yet. Josh Allen is pretty good. He does have weapons. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis is coming on. A lot of stuff. I heard about Isaiah McKenzie. Dawson Knox is going to be playing for his brother this year. The line is pretty good. The running backs, to me, are kind of mediocre. But Singletary does have some shiftiness. They got James Cook this year. The Cook family, super athletic, and I know what he did at Georgia last year, catching the ball. He's gonna be a good third down back. Yeah, it's gonna be a brawl. It's gonna be a great opening day. I know a lot of people have players on the fantasy side of things there, and of course, I'm gonna talk about some of the matchups and some of the players that we may have when we get to that section. But yeah, I'm predicting. I think the Rams will win. I hope the Rams win, even though I kind of want them to lose. But I want the Bills' hype to die down a little bit because everybody's thinking whoever's going to be on the NFC side is going to play against the Bills in the championship, and I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Next, we have the 49ers versus the Bears. 49ers by 7. It's going to be a crazy game to me. I kind of feel like the 49ers are going to win this game, of course, because the Bears don't have no offense. I don't really know how their defense is anymore. Their defense used to be really good when they had Khalil Mack, but they don't have Khalil Mack anymore. So I'm not going to go ahead and just automatically assume the Bears defense is going to be able to hold the 49ers. I know they're going to be a lot of run plays, a lot of zone schemes implemented against the Bears to see what they got. I know Debo's going to be heavily involved, and it's going to be just a measuring stick game for Trey Lance. He's going to be getting his feet wet. Luckily, it's against a team that's not going to put up too big of a threat. They don't have to show too much. He can hand off the ball, I'm sure, to Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, and Deebo Samuel's gonna be perfectly fine. I think George Kittle's hurt, but defensively, I think the 49ers will be able to hold the Bears to a stalemate. So even if they struggle to score, whatever points they do end up scoring is gonna be enough to beat the Bears because I don't think Justin Fields and them are gonna be able to do anything. They have no receivers. They just have Montgomery and Darrell Mooney and Cole Kmet. And I don't think that's going to be enough to actually beat the 49ers or even score enough points to compete. So the spread is 7. The 49ers going to win by 7, they say, but I think they're going to win by way more than that. And I think this game is in San Francisco. No, it's in Chicago. Shoot. The 49ers got 7 points in Chicago. Yeah. The Bears are in for 1. Next game, we got the Browns versus the Panthers. Baker Mayfield starting for the Panthers now. They are actually favored by 2.5 points. The game is in Carolina. First starting game for Baker Mayfield against his old team, the Browns. Baker's braggadocio, his moxie. He's going to be out there trying to strut his stuff. They do got Christian McCaffrey back. They did just sign Laviska Shenault. That's a good pickup. Robbie Anderson, I think, is still there. DJ Moore, of course, is still going to be there. I don't know how much. I know Baker's upgrade over Sam Darnold and the ability of what Cam Newton is now. So I know that he's going to be able to get DJ Moore the ball a lot more. But it's just, we got to see. We're going to have to see how it turns out. I know Christian McCaffrey is going to be involved a lot more. He's going to be healthy this year. I'm hoping. I got him on my fantasy team. I actually drafted him at 8 in a PPR draft. That's really crazy. People kind of are sleeping on him this year, thinking that he's going to get hurt again, kind of inevitably. But I don't think so. I think he's going to stay healthy this year. He knows in the back of his head that he's only, hasn't played many games in the last 2 years. And people are doubting him. And you know what I'm saying? The only way to spell that doubt is to go out there and ball out. And I think that's what he's going to do. Fingers crossed. You ain't winning the division. I know that. But I think they're going to ball out. The Browns right now are running with Jacoby Brissett. Deshaun Watson did get that 11 games, so he has to wait a while before he's actually being able to get on the field. Amari Cooper, they have at a receiver now as their number 1 receiver. But again, I don't know how much he's going to get the ball with Jacoby Brissett being the quarterback and him getting doubled or focused on as the main receiver over there. They got David Njoku, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt wants to get traded, so it's probably going to be more so the Nick Chubb show, unless Kareem Hunt really buys in, you know. But who knows what's going to happen with that. But I do think that that defense of the Browns is going to be able to, you know, bother Baker a little bit. But the Panthers also have a good defense, at least a good pass rush and some good DBs. So it could give Jacoby Brissett some trouble. So they could probably, you know, be thwarted in scoring a little bit. So it'll probably be a low scoring game. But they got the Browns losing by 2.5 to the Panthers. Then we have Colts and Texans, which I expect the Colts to blow out the Texans. The Texans don't have much, as everybody already knows. But all their hype is in the Dameon Pierce show, their rookie running back out of Florida. They also have Brandon Cooks. Nico Collins has been kind of picking up steam as of late, but ultimately everywhere else on their team, they have a lot of holes. They have Stingley, which is looking up at the corner position, but everywhere, and they got that safety out of Baylor, who I think is doing raw. Petrie or something like that is his name, but everybody else on the team is kind of struggling, so they're going to have another bad season, I'm pretty sure. The Colts just got Matt Ryan, also Michael Pittman. It's time for him to probably step up as the number one receiver, get a bunch of targets. Matt Ryan is going to feed him, I'm sure. Jonathan Taylor's going to be doing mostly what he did last year, running for a whole bunch of yards as well. Probably going to run for damn near 200 yards on the Texans, like 3 touchdowns. So whoever got him in fantasy is probably going to eat this week. He's probably projected like 50 points. But yeah, not much to say on this game. The Colts are only favored by 7, which is interesting. They are in Houston, but yeah, Matt Ryan's going to come out here and see what he can do, and try to put on. And, you know, they say the Bills are the team in the AFC, but, you know, the Indianapolis Colts do have a good defense, and they do. DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, to highlight a couple people on the team. But if their offense can be anything, you know, could be anything and score some points and not do what Carson Wentz did last year and then fuck it up towards the end of the season, I think they'll be he'll be kind of serviceable to them and kind of do the Peyton Manning thing. I don't know about get to the Super Bowl, but he'll be able to do enough. He has more in the tank than Phillip Rivers did, I'll tell you that. And yeah, I think he has more in the tank than Big Ben did last year as well. So I think the Colts got one and may be able to do some things, favored by 7 in week 1. Next, we got the Eagles versus the Lions, which also I think the Eagles should be favored by more. They're only favored by 4 points. I would take that and bet that big time because, I don't know, people think the Lions are going to be good this year. I still don't see what they have on defense to stop what the Eagles offense is kind of rumored to be this year. The Lions got Aiden Hutchinson early in the draft this year. And they also, I can't even think of somebody on their defense that is supposed to be that man or somebody that's supposed to scare the Eagles at all. The Eagles do have some new weapons. They got A.J. Brown. Of course, Jalen Hurts can move the ball with his legs. Devontae Smith is still there. He's probably going to be healthy this full season, just can stretch the field with A.J. Brown taking the intermediate routes and doing all that stuff. Then you got Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, a bunch of guys coming out of the backfield that can actually catch the ball as well. And they can run, quarterback can run, offensive line is low-key good as well. So they're going to have a sneaky good offense, and their defense did pick up a couple of people, Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean out of Georgia, that national championship team, got them low-key. Nakobe Dean was a smaller linebacker, but he was great in college, and people just were judging him by his size and thinking that he couldn't play. So he fell to the Eagles, and they were actually able to stack up that defense. And I think now with that defensive presence and that offensive presence that they have, they're going to put it all together and they'll be able to win that division. People are predicting that they'll win the division over the Cowboys this year, which is the first in many years. The Cowboys have been walking through that division for years now. And for the Eagles to actually have a chance and people to think they could make the Super Bowl, make the playoffs, because they made the playoffs last year without some of the additions they had this year. So for them to have A.J. Brown now and all those defensive additions that they did, because people are saying Jordan Davis is a beast. So, you know, people are betting on them to go to the Super Bowl and probably going to get this big payout for that. but I got the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win that. I haven't been telling you who I thought were going to win the last 2 games, but I thought they were fairly obvious last 3. I got the 49ers in the 49ers versus Bears matchup. I got the Browns in the Browns versus Panthers matchup. I got the Colts in the Colts versus Texans matchup, and this Eagles versus Lions. I do got the Eagles to cover plus more. Next game, we got the Jags versus the Commanders. The Commanders are favored by 2.5 points. Both of these teams are on a wait and see kind of basis. Starting with the Commanders, they just got Carson Wentz, so people are already kind of expecting them to be kind of mediocre based on that. They did have tragedy over there on their running back. Brian Robinson got shot in an attempted carjacking. Who was going to be his starting running back? The Commanders starting running back. He was a running back out of Alabama. But last year that Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and a couple of other guys, but adding Brian Robinson to the mix now makes the running backfield a little bit more congested for fantasy wise. But I think running back by committee is their future. Of course, at receiver, they got Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and they just drafted Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. I think they should be pretty good. Logan Thomas at tight end. So they'll be serviceable at offense, but defense, hopefully Chase Young come back as strong as he was last year coming off that ACL injury. The defensive line still kind of intact there. The secondary is probably where they need to improve the most, but I think they'll be all right. I don't think they'll be as bad as who's the last team in that division? Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders. Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders. And the New York Giants, that's what it was. I don't think they'll be as bad as the New York Giants because the New York Giants got holes everywhere as well. And they still got Daniel Jones, and I'll talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, on the Jag side of things, Trevor Lawrence's second year, new head coach. Travis Etienne, his boy from Clemson, is coming back. They just got Christian Kirk. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of looking up for Trevor Lawrence. He was great coming out of high school. He was great in college, won a couple of national championships. So I feel like it's just about, a matter of time before he comes out and just shows his stuff. I think they do win this game because the Commanders are just kind of a mess right now. They don't know what they're doing. I like Coach Rivera, Riverboat Ron, but yeah, I think the Jags, I think it's their time to win some games, man. They just got the number 1 pick, Travon Walker. They got some guys out there that can do some things, you know what I mean? They got some corners out there that are pretty fast. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what Travis Etienne can do, honestly, because he was so explosive in college. And for him to get hurt last year with that foot injury was kind of crazy. To see him have to sit the whole year and James Robinson kind of like take over. He did bust out, and James Robinson did tear his Achilles last year, and somehow he's able to play and he's ready to go week 1, kind of muddying up that backfield for fantasy purposes. But I think the Jags will be able to take that in a surprise victory, even though the Commanders are favored by 2.5, and I think the Commanders are going to be at home, which is going to be a bad start for Carson Wentz. Yes. Next game we have on the docket is the Dolphins and the Patriots. The Dolphins are favored by 3.5. New receiver Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Speed Demons. I think I have Cedric Wilson as well. The only question is, can Tua get them the ball? They have a bunch of running backs as well. They just got Chase Edmonds. They have Raheem Mostert. Still got Myles Gaskin. Bunch of running backs over there. Defensively, they got a bunch of young guys. Jalen Phillips, I know, came out of Miami a couple of years ago. I don't know exactly who they drafted this year defensively, but offensively, I think they're going to be able to score some more points than they were able to last year. People are thinking the Patriots are kind of falling off. If Bill Belichick still got it. We were hearing a lot of bad things about Mac Jones in training camp, about how he has been looking bad. He hasn't been running the offense correctly, and the offense has been looking really ugly. I think Matt Patricia is running the offense and the offensive lineman, which is a bad look already because he did so horribly when he was head coach of the Lions. So having him be the offensive coordinator, I think is probably a bad idea, Mr. Bill. But of course, Bill Belichick's side is the defensive side of the ball. And to have him over there kind of just like overseeing that, so he can't really have any blame thrown on him for the offense. But I think that's kind of still falling off as well, given that the Dolphins are favored by 3.5 points. We haven't seen that in years, and maybe maybe because the Dolphins are at home, they get the automatic 3 points, and they're giving them the half point because of Tyreek. But I don't know. Curry over here snoring. Hey, shut your mouth. Stop the snoring. My puppy's snoring. I'm sorry, y'all. Had to wake her up because she was on that bullshit. Next game. Sorry, I'm thinking the Dolphins are going to win that game. I'm agreeing with that. I think the Patriots are kind of falling off. I don't know if Mac Jones is the guy. Commanders and Jags. I think the Jags got that game, as I stated. And then for the Eagles Lions, I think the Eagles are going to win that game. Next game on the docket, we got Ravens and Jets. Ravens are favored by 7 points, of course. They have everybody coming back from injuries from last year. They had like 2,700 injuries last year, and everybody's coming back. Marcus Peters is coming back. He got hurt early. Him and Marlon Humphreys are back there locking stuff down. They just got Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, they did a whole bunch in the draft this year. Had a really good draft. Got a couple of defensive ends, a couple of pass rushers out there. J.K. Dobbins is coming back. Rashad Bateman is supposed to take a step forward. They did trade Marquise Brown, but I think Rashad Bateman is going to take that step up. Of course, they still have Mark Andrews, and they drafted a tight end named Isaiah Likely, who is a receiver in a tight end's body, I guess, just playing tight end out there, and is just incredible. Again, I highlighted him a couple of days ago, or in the last episode when I drafted him and talked about my roster. But of course, Lamar, I think, is going to go out there and prove that he's deserving of one of these big ass contracts that all these other quarterbacks are getting. He's going to go out there and make some noise. And the Jets don't have young Wilson right now. They're starting Flacco, and all the fantastic receivers they have, all the young prospects, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, are all going to suffer because they have to use Joe Flacco, since young Wilson is the MILF Hunter is hurt right now, recovering from that knee injury he got during practice. I think it was practice or one of the preseason games. So I think it was a preseason game. So yeah, I think that the Ravens are going to win this game by way more than 7. I think 7 is just being respectful to the Jets, since the Jets are at home, but I think they're going to walk all over them. Saints versus Falcons. Boy, I want the Falcons to win because I do not like them Saints, but the Saints are favored by 5.5. The Falcons are at home. Mariota and the Falcons are going to have too much probably to handle. The defense over there on the Saints is really good. Like I said, they lost Charlie Gardner-Johnson, but I think they just gained Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah, defensive line's pretty much the same. Corners, Lattimore, and them are pretty much the same. PJ Williams is still there. So their defense is still pretty good. Their offense is more so the question marks. Mike Thomas is coming back. Jameis Winston is coming back off an ACL injury, got his eyes fixed, and people are hoping that he doesn't throw a bunch of interceptions. People are thinking that the Saints are going to go 10-6 this year and try to beat us out of the division or some shit like that. I don't think it's going to happen. People are, have a super recency bias, I guess, and forgot about the 30-30 season that Jameis Winston had. Even though he had 5,000 yards, he had 30 turnovers and 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Some crazy bullshit like that. I don't even remember. I don't want to remember, but for them to think that the Saints with him, and just because they got Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry, that they're going to turn the whole season around and they're just going to make the playoffs and be a playoff team. I think he still has those mistakes in him. I don't think you can beat that out of a quarterback, especially not 30 interceptions, 30 turnovers. I think you're still going to see some of the low sides of Jameis. I wish him the best, but I'm just sad to see that he plays for the Saints because I have to root against him every week. But this is not about the Bucs right now. This is Falcons and the Saints. Falcons don't really have much on offense. They have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and that's about it. They don't even know who their running back's going to be. I hear a lot about Tyler Algier, but of course they had Cordell Patterson. He's a receiver and a playing running back, which is already kind of fucked up. So they don't really have offensive weapons to be able to score with the Saints. I don't think the Saints are going to let them score, even though they do. Mariota is going to be running a lot for his life. Cam Jordan's going to be getting in, celebrating a lot. Marcus Davenport's going to be getting in a lot. I just don't want to see them win. So by the grace of God, I'm bringing God into this. Please let these goddamn Saints lose. Gosh darn. But yeah, not much to be said there. Alvin Kamara is going to be playing. He's not going to get suspended, I don't think, until probably next year during the offseason, where they're actually going to take his case to court, where he was at All-Star Weekend and they beat somebody up, him and his friends. But I don't think that's going to matter. I think he's not even going to see any courtroom until next year, like I just said, and everything will be good with them. I got the Falcons in that game. Wishful thinking. Ravens, of course, they're going to win against the Jets. And then Steelers versus Bengals. Bengals are favored by 6.5. Dang, this is kind of crazy. The Bengals are at home. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to relive the hype of last year and get to the Super Bowl again. Jamar Chase, Higgins, Tyler Boyd, of course. Then you got Mixon coming out the backfield. Those guys are all coming back. Joe Burrow is ready to show what they got and make sure last year wasn't a fluke. They revitalized that offensive line to protect Joe in that knee. So I think this year they're going to come out and try to show everybody that last year wasn't a fluke and still be that one of those top teams in the AFC. I know Jamar Chase is going to do his thing. I know Higgins is going to do his thing. But they are playing against the Steelers, and I think that defense is crazy. Even though Devin Bush isn't as good as people drafted him or thought he was going to be, but they got Miles Jack. I think that defense with Mika Fitzpatrick back there is still pretty good. Cam Hayward and everybody on that defensive line is still going to hold it down. I think they got a great team still, a great defense, and I think they're just doubted because of the quarterback situation. They have young Mitch Trubisky starting right now. Mitchell Trubisky. They had Kenny Pickett from the University of Pittsburgh, probably going to start mid-season. But I think it's the quarterback right now that's keeping them down because the receiving core right now is pretty good. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris coming out of the backfield. So the offense is serviceable as well. I like to use that word today. That's some word of the day, serviceable. But I think they can do some things. And I don't think it should be a given that the Bengals are going to just beat them like that because that offense, if their offensive line is any better than last year and then give Najee some, rushing lanes and give either Trubisky or Pickett some time to throw the ball, I think they can be okay. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but 6.5 points to the Bengals, I don't know about all that. I got the Steelers. Chiefs and Cardinals. Chiefs by 6 points. Cardinals missing D-Hop for a while. People are doubting Kyler right now. James Conner coming out the backfield. Their line is getting better over there on the Cardinals. Maybe it's the doubt in Cliff Kingsbury. They think that him and Kyler aren't really compatible, and them together doesn't really equal winning. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it is. People think Rondale Moore is going to get off this year. They still got AJ Green. But yeah, I do kind of, hearing this, just saying it out loud, I feel like the Cardinals are kind of mid, you know what I mean? They don't really have much that says like, okay, we're gonna go out there and just beat you every week. They do have Isaiah Simmons, who's getting better, young, strong safety out there. But again, got Buda Baker out there, still balling. Murphy over there at corner. But nobody really stands out. That's going to tell me that they can stop the Chiefs. Even though they lost Tyreek Hill, they still got a bunch of receivers. They got Juju. They reloaded with him. Marquise Valdez-Scantling. They still got Hardman. Who else they got? Their running back room is a little bit more mixed up as well. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire still. They got Ronald Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, who's been making a lot of noise in the preseason, as well as McKinnon. So they have a lot of running backs over there. There's going to be running back by committee. And as far as the receivers go, Pat Mahomes already said, excuse me, sorry to all these fantasy owners, whoever has my receivers, because I'm going to be spreading the ball around. There's not going to be a number one receiver on this team. So you might as well not pick up any of the receivers, which is kind of cold, but I get it. You know what I mean? He has to do what it takes to win. People don't think he can be the same without Tyreek Hill. They act like they still ain't got Travis Kelce out there, who is like the biggest safety blanket of all time since Gronk. But I do think the Chiefs will pull it out. Pat has a lot to prove this year. And the Cardinals, will drop a couple, but I think they'll be serviceable. There it is again. And they'll make the playoffs. I hope they do, man. I hope they take a couple of games from the 49ers, well, at least one game from the 49ers, one game from the Rams too, because, I can't have them being too good. But I got the Chiefs in that game. Giants versus Titans. Titans are favored by 5.5. Of course, we talked about the Giants. They ain't got much at all. They got Saquon Barkley. That's about it. And my boy Kayvon Thibodeau got hurt. Kadarius Toney is hurt. Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't really know much about him. He's supposed to be the receiver coming out of their camp, who's going to be the best. Sterling Shepard, if he's still on the team, I don't know. Their best corner is Adoree Jackson. Everybody else in the team, I don't know. So I think that they're going to get blown out by the Titans. Derrick Henry is going to probably run for 200 yards. Treylon Burks, their new receiver, is probably going to get involved early. And I think also Tannehill has something to prove as well. They drafted Kenny, or what's his name? Malik Willis, to take over eventually as the quarterback of the Titans after they just gave him a big contract a couple of years ago. So it's time for him to go out there and prove that he still got it, and he's better than a lot of people think. So I think that they're going to go out there and do work. They're not going to have to do much, I'm sure. Probably just going to run the ball a whole bunch of times with Derrick Henry, score like 3 touchdowns, and they'll be up by 21 before halftime. I got the Titans in that one. Vikings, Packers, which is going to be another good one. The Vikings are at home, but the Packers are favored by 1.5. It's probably the Aaron Rodgers effect. Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have a number one receiver over there. I think Allen Lazard is hurt, but they do got a bunch of young guys. Dobbs, they got Christian Watkins. Who else they got over there? I don't know if they still got Equanimous St. Brown. They still got Randall Cobb, and they still have those trusty running backs back there, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. But receiver-wise, Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the ball and improvise and get people open and throw the ball to people that are reliable. And if he doesn't have reliable receivers, we don't know what actually the offense is going to look like. So for them to have the Packers favored right now by 1.5 is interesting, especially when the Vikings are at home. I think their offense is going to be pretty explosive with Justin Jefferson coming back for his 3rd year. He's been averaging like 96 yards a game for a while now. I think that was some crazy ass stat that he has. I mean, people are picking him hella early in fantasy, like top 5, because they're expecting him to have that kind of season. Adam Thielen is supposed to be looking good. People are saying that he looks like his younger self, and it's showing some stuff out there. Dalvin Cook's going to bring it. Alexander Madison actually is a really good number 2 running back. He runs hard and emulates Dalvin Cook really well. So I like their team a lot. Irv Smith is out there. Their offensive line got better, and their defense is pretty good. So I don't know. The Packers defense got pretty good as well with a bunch of draft picks they had this year. They grabbed a couple of Georgia boys as well. 15 of them boys got drafted. So all of them Georgia boys from the national championship got drafted eventually to teams. And a lot of them went to good teams because they went later in the draft. Wyatt, a D lineman who was really good. The Buccaneers were looking at him. He got drafted by the Packers to put on that D line. Rashawn Gary is coming back out of Michigan. He's been quietly doing his thing over there and, making a name for himself. So I think the Packers are good, but me personally, I want the Packers to lose as many games as possible as well. So I got the Vikings in this one. Next game, we got Raiders versus the Chargers. I got Chargers in this one. I'm just gonna start with that. I'm a Justin Herbert fan till I die. Oregon boy for life. We got to represent, especially when we got good players coming out of there representing and possibly being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at year 2. People are throwing around the best quarterback besides Brady right now. The younger crop of quarterbacks, So I like the direction he's going. Mike Williams is just getting better and better. They just signed him to a new contract. Keenan Allen's going to be faithful. You know what he's about. Austin Eckler, you know what he's bringing as well. They juiced up their offensive line last year, so their offensive line is amazing. They just got J.C. Jackson last year when he came off a great year with the Patriots. They got Khalil Mack from the Bears on some crazy stuff. So they got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa coming off the edges, which is crazy. Who they else? Kenneth Murray in the middle, who's a crazy linebacker out of Oklahoma, who's going to be great. I don't know if they still have Chris Harris, but I know they do have Asante Samuel Jr. over there holding it down. Another year of experience. He's going to get better. But yeah, I just rock with the Chargers. That's my AFC team of choice right there. And I think they're going to beat the Raiders and cover that 4, even though I got Derek Carr as my money league fantasy quarterback. So I'm expecting big things from that guy. I'm hoping that his first year in Vegas is pretty good with him and Devontae and Hunter Renfrow. They can go out there and do some things. I don't know how I feel about Josh McDaniels as a first-year quarterback going out there and implementing that Patriots system. The running back by committee, I'm not really a big fan of that at all. I think Josh Jacobs should get his burn. They didn't pick up his 5th-year contract, so he's going to have to prove himself and to show everybody he's worth that 5th year. By the way, let me move this to the side because I feel like I'm covering up my BOBP. If y'all ain't got you one of these shirts yet, go get you one. You see how lovely that looks? You know what I'm saying? I wish I could show you guys the back, but I'll show you guys the shirts a little bit later in the episode. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Raiders do have a suspect defense, though. I think that's what's going to hold them back in this game. They're going to have to stop Eckler and Herbert and them from scoring. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. They'll be able to score some points themselves, but being able to stop the other team, I think it's going to be hard for them. I think it's going to be a common theme in their division. Their division is really high powered now, with the addition of Russell Wilson and a couple other defensive names in that division. They do have Max Crosby and Chandler Jones coming off the edges in Las Vegas now, but I don't think that'll be enough in the back end. Josh Palmer on the Chargers, another receiver they have out of Tennessee. So they have three really good receivers coming out there, and the Chargers, I don't know if the Raiders will be able to hold up. And I think the Raiders will be able to hold up. I mean, the Chargers will be able to hold up with the Raiders receivers. They have two receivers in Waller, but I think they'll be able to hold it down, and the Chargers will win that game by more than 4 points. And then the last game I want to talk about today, Broncos versus Seahawks, which it's probably going to be an ass whooping. The Broncos just got Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson just signed like a $265 million extension, 5-year extension with the Broncos. So he's ready. Yeah, the Seahawks don't have a quarterback. Both their running backs were injured. They still have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but I don't know. Their defense has been trash since last year. They did trade a whole bunch of stuff for Jamal Adams, but the other players on the defense weren't really good at all. They didn't really have nobody on the defense to actually hold shit down. So it was mostly just him kind of, trying to figure shit out, and him he's really just a box safety in the first place. So he can't really cover. So that was they just looked really bad on defense towards the end of the year. I think they may have beat somebody in their division, just kind of upset them, but ultimately they have Geno Smith starting at quarterback. Sean, I know you say Geno Smith can be serviceable, but I do not believe it. I do not believe it. He has to show me. You did pick up Lockett, and I think you're starting him in your slot this week. I'm not sure, but that's a lot of belief in Geno Smith. I know Geno Smith will try to force it to those receivers, but I don't think he'll actually get it to them for them to score some touchdowns. But somebody got to score, and I do have Rashad Penny on one of my teams, so I'm hoping for him to go ahead and get in that end zone one time for your boy. Because when Rashad Penny was healthy, he is pretty good, but he's always hurt, which is kind of crazy. But I do want to see what the Broncos got with Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. I put a lot of stock in Cortland Sutton in fantasy this year, so I'm hoping that with an actual quarterback and him being healed off his ACL injury, the second year coming off the ACL injury, they'll be able to show some stuff. Javonte Williams, he actually won me a league last year. He came on late and was able to do some things. I do got Melvin Gordon in a couple of leagues just in case Javonte does do bad, but just for a handcuff for that. But I think I'm going to drop him because I think Javonte's going to do good, and I don't want to wish him bad or wish anything against him. So I think I'm going to drop Melvin Gordon and pick up Rashad White. Rashad White. I know nobody in the league is going to listen to this episode anyways. You guys should, you know what I'm saying? I told y'all to listen to the episode. I'll be talking about y'all. I'm going to get to y'all segment in a minute. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Broncos will go out there and really show what they got. And I think the Broncos are going to give the Bills a run for their money. They got a little defense themselves, and it's not going to be all offense. The Broncos' offensive line is better than it was on Seattle last year, and he's not got to run for his life. He's going to have a bunch of good receivers. I wish I could pronounce his tight end's last name with some crazy ass shit. Okawakawakawakam. People call him Big O, and that's probably what I'm gonna call him. But yeah, the Broncos, I think they're gonna win by 6.5, even though they got to go back to Seattle. It's not gonna matter because it's gonna be like a home game for Russell Wilson, anyways, being in Seattle. It's kind of crazy how they ended up on the same schedule opening day as he got traded to the Broncos too. What a coincidence that was, huh? Schedule makers, goddamn it. Why the fuck we playing the Cowboys again? Why can't we play the Lions or some crazy shit? Y'all got us playing in Jerry World? Fuck. But yeah, and that ends those predictions for the week. Let me just go over who I got again. Rams, Bills, I got the Rams. 49ers, Bears, I got the 49ers. Browns, Panthers, I got the Browns, actually. Colts, Texans, I got the Colts. Eagles, Lions, I got the Eagles. Jags, Commanders, I got the Jags. Patriots, Dolphins, I got the Dolphins. Ravens, Jets, I got the Ravens. Saints versus the Falcons, I got the Almost said the Saints. I got the Falcons. Steelers versus Bengals. I got the Steelers. Chiefs versus Cardinals. I got the Chiefs. Titans. Titans versus the Giants. I got the Titans, of course. Packers versus the Vikings. I'm going Vikings. Raiders versus Chargers. I got Chargers for show. And then Broncos versus Seahawks. I'm taking Broncos. We'll reflect on all this. I'll put what I picked on here. I promise I won't cheat y'all. I'll give you guys my records and see how reliable I am. Maybe you want to make some bets on based on my predictions. Maybe not the Saints Falcons one. That's more of my heart pick. But anything else, man, I think I got you. The spreads though, I don't know how I feel about the spreads. The spreads be funky sometimes, but if you want to know who I think is going to win, you want to take my advice on that, you can do that. Actually, don't take my advice and bet on it because I don't want to be responsible for you losing your money. But just take my advice into consideration and do what you must. And go with your gut at all times. But if you think this is useful and what I'm saying, could be helpful for your bets, go ahead and use it. I give you permission, you know what I'm saying? But don't blame me if anything goes wrong. I ain't saying I'm the betting champion, but I know a little something. Next, we're going to get into this Best of Bias Week 1 predictions and matchups. We ain't going to hold you too long. We're just going to do that. And I got one more sports topic and talk some Jake Paul to close it out. And we'll get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Not too long, just a little quick in and out for y'all real quick. But starting week 1, Best of Bias Invitational 2022. The league is starting, y'all. We got the matchups for week 1. Y'all know what it is. You guys know who you playing. I'm just going to give y'all my predictions of who's going to win based off of who's on what teams for the matchups. Is that cool with y'all? If y'all listening from the league, don't get mad on my predictions. I know some of y'all already hot that I didn't put y'all on my top 5 competitors. I think is going to be giving me competition this year, but don't be mad at me either for these predictions because it's not me. Y'all drafted the team. I'm just giving my predictions of what I think is going to happen based on y'all draft solutions. You feel me? Firstly, I can start with my game, of course. I'm playing Kyle. I'll go by team names if I can even pronounce these bitches. My name, of course, I can pronounce. It's like Lydito's way. You know what I'm saying? Little Lydell's way. I'm starting Derek Carr, AJ Brown, Cortland Sutton, Christian McCaffrey, David Njoku, Allen Robinson, Hopkins from LA Chargers, kicker in Indianapolis Colts, and Kyle Bubsito Lou. That's his team name. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe that's a nickname for somebody he's throwing out here. Kyler Murray, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Dalvin Cook. You got Javonte Williams, Dallas Goedert, Mike Williams, Tyler Bass, kicker from the Buffalo Bills, and New Orleans Saints defense. Me personally, I think I got this one. I think how I drafted this year, I talked about a little last week. I think the receivers that I stashed on my bench and the receivers that I actually have in the game are going to be serviceable this year. I don't really want to trade them because I think they all have potential, especially having Jalen Waddle, Brandon Cooks, and Rashad Bateman all on my bench. I think they're either a 1 or 2 receiver and they can pop at any moment. My starters this week, Allen Robinson, I think he's going to be able to get off against the Bills' number 2 corner. They don't have Tre'Davious White, so their second best corner is probably going to have to cover Cooper Kupp. So essentially, they're going to have Allen Robinson on their third best corner, which I think he's going to eat up and prove that he's a great addition to the team. I think I'm going to get a lot of points there. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette are automatic points. Christian McCaffrey, I'm hoping gets me like 40. Leonard Fournette's going to get a bunch of carries and a bunch of catches as well against the Cowboys. Get a lot of the red zone carries. Hopefully, get a couple of touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, I think this is going to be the sleeper. People are saying that him and Russell Wilson are making a lot of connections right now. And I think that week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson's going to be trying to prove something. And Cortland Sutton's going to be the beneficiary of getting a lot of passes and score a touchdown or 2. AJ Brown, of course, I had to get AJ Brown because Jalen Hurts, I think, is improving out there on the Eagles. And I think his number 1 receiver, and what I've been hearing out of camp anyway, is AJ Brown has been doing great. And he's been gaining a rapport with Jalen Hurts to the point where they're almost like best friends, you know what I'm saying? So I had to get some stock in that. I wanted Jalen Hurts in the draft, didn't get him, but I did get his number 1 receiver who I think is going to get off. The only thing I'm scared about, though, is the quarterback situation. He has Kyler Murray going against Kansas City. He's going to get those running points as well. And Stephon Diggs going to get his points, of course, against the Rams and PPR. But again, all the stuff that I kind of like went through there. Mike Williams, of course, is going to get his points against Las Vegas. this. I'm hoping the first week Javonte's still in a timeshare with Melvin Gordon. Dalvin Cook's going to get his points, but I'm hoping that Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette can just eliminate the two running backs out. And it comes to the performance of our receivers. And I think based on the receivers that I got some sleepers, not the biggest names in the world, but I think Cortland Sutton's going to have a better game than DJ Moore because that's the Baker Mayfield game. And I think also my flex, Allen Robinson, the number 2 for the Rams, is going to have a better game than Mike Williams against the Raiders. I'm just thinking that Allen Robinson has a chance to finish fantasy-wise as the receiver number 1 for the Rams. I'm hearing that a lot in fantasy circles, and I'm thinking that's going to be beneficial. Also, my defense is also a sleeper since the Colts have a really good defense and they're playing against Houston. He has New Orleans against Atlanta, which is also a really good pickup, and they have he has the kicker from the Buffalo Bills, who's also a really good pickup because they're going to be scoring some points. So, but the projections is 120.7 to 120.4. So it's going to be right there on the nose, but I think I'm going to edge them out. I'm hoping to win by big points. I'm trying to score like 200. So hopefully, Kyle, you ready? So I'm picking myself, of course, as a prediction for the winner for the first week for my matchup, at least. Matchup number 2, we got Future Vintage, which is Jason versus Tom Brady Got Rings, which is the Dijon's team. For this one, I picked Jason's team. I think his receiver lineup is just kind of crazy, man. And he got my quarterback that I wanted, Jalen Hurts, who's going to get points through the air and running. But he has Mike Evans and Keenan Allen, who's going to get a bunch of points in PPR for both their respective quarterbacks. Jonathan Taylor with the first pick, who's going to get a bunch of points. Of course, he's already projected 19. Pat Freiermuth, who's a really sleeper tight end for the Steelers. Last year, he was a rookie, and he got a bunch of catches, and he was one of the top receivers for their team. Well, top targets for Big Ben and whoever was in the game when he was playing. Then he has Michael Thomas, and if he comes back and is fully healthy and can be the guy he was before he got hurt, he would have Mike Thomas, Keenan Allen, and Mike Evans as his 3 receivers with Jonathan Taylor as a running back. Baltimore playing Jets as his defense and Harrison Butker as his kicker, which is the kicker from Kansas City. Just add all that up, and I think it's going to be hard for anybody to actually beat him, especially Dijon's team, because he's kind of weaker at the running back. He has Lamar Jackson, who I think is going to be Jalen Hurts on steroids. And then you have Justin Jefferson, who he sniped for me. I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but Justin Jefferson's going to get him a lot of points. And then we have Michael Pittman. We're still waiting and seeing if Michael Pittman can have a rapport with Matt Ryan. So we haven't seen it yet. So it's not as proven as the first 2. But DeAndre Swift, we're seeing if he can stay healthy. We're hearing a lot of good things about him, especially watching Hard Knocks. He was highly touted coming out of the draft. He was like running back, maybe like 5 or 6 this year, maybe even 7. I don't know. But I don't think that's going to hold up against Jonathan Taylor. His second running back is Cam Akers, and Jason's is Josh Jacobs. So I think that kind of cancels each other out. Cameron Brate, I think Freiermuth is going to get a lot more catches than Cameron Brate because we have a lot of receivers on the Bucs, and they're going to spread that ball around. And he might run a lot of 2 tight end sets too, and he might even be the first target as tight end. So he has Marquise Brown, who is playing again with Kyler Murray, his college quarterback. So I think that's going to be fun to watch. But right now, I don't think Marquise Brown was practicing. He's practicing probably now because it's opening week. But earlier in during preseason, during the last week of preseason, I heard he wasn't on the field yet due to some injuries. So hopefully he's healthy enough to make it. But all in all, everything I highlighted in Jason's team just kind of points to him winning more than Dijon's team. And the projections kind of say that too. Jason's team is projected to win 121 to 117. Which puts Tom Brady Got Rings, who is Dijon, taking him to a 0-1. Well, on my predictions. Nothing is set in fact yet because the games haven't happened. But of course, I'm predicting that Jason's going to win that matchup. The next team we have D Nasty, which is Derek versus Dak Street. Dak Street's Back All Right, which is Damon's cleverly named team. In this matchup, I picked Derek. And this one was really close, and it was only because of the defense. I don't really think that Damon should be starting LA Rams defense against Buffalo. If he wasn't starting LA Rams defense against Buffalo, I think he'd be winning in the projections, and he would be winning in my mind as well because he got Dak Prescott, Deebo Samuel. He's starting Juju Smith-Schuster, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Kyle Pitts, AJ Dillon, AJ Dillon was a really good sleeper. He has Godwin on his bench, and he's fully healthy too. So if he was to bring Godwin up and take Juju Smith-Schuster out, well, this week I don't think it's going to matter much because I think they should kind of wait to start Chris Godwin for a little bit and just see how Juju does because he is projected 11 points. So just having him on his team, and if he had a different defense, I think Damon's team would be one of the teams to look out for. And I think I did put him in my top 5, but Derek's team has Russell Wilson, Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalton Schultz, who's a sleeper as well, Devin Singletary, and that alone there, the lineup isn't the best, you know what I mean? But Dalton Schultz is a sleeper. Him and Kyle Pitts, they kind of cancel each other out projection-wise. James Conner and Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott's pretty slept on. I think him and James Conner are probably going to perform around the same. Yeah, Kamara and Aaron Jones, which is also a wash. I think Thielen is going to do better than Juju Smith-Schuster just because Justin Jefferson is going to be double teamed so much. It's going to open up some doors for Thielen. Then you have Cooper Kupp, who is the number 1 receiver, Triple Crown winner last year. And then Russell Wilson's playing his old team in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? So all those guys are going to put up points. And I think it just really comes down to the Denver defense against the LA Rams defense. And I think Josh Allen is going to put up enough points to lower that LA Rams defense enough to give Derek the victory. I even wrote that down on my paper here that the victory was only because of defense. So Derek, you got lucky in this first week's predictions. Yeah, it's only because of defense. Next matchup, we got the Hot Boys versus, which is John versus Jeremy's team. I don't know what Jeremy's team was named. It was kind of like that default team still. I think he's the only one with the default name. Maybe not, but I think he is though. I know Sean's bold team, he still got them over there. But yeah, Jeremy versus John, matchup number 4. In this matchup, I picked John's team just because one, Jeremy hasn't set no roster yet, which is kind of hard to kind of judge on who's going to start. So by default, I kind of just gave him the victory. But he also has Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne, Irv Smith, Brandon Ayuk. So like the top players is top heavy on the team. The down low players, we want to see what Ayuk's going to do with Trey Lance. People are saying that he's going to be the number 1 receiver of Trey Lance. He also has Trey Lance on his team, which is interesting. Chris Olave down there as well. But I mean, I'm not going to try to assume who Jeremy's playing. So by default, and the projections, 110-0 since he didn't set no lineup yet. That John's going to win this one. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Since he didn't spend no time on his rosters, I'm not going to spend no time reviewing it. And then we got, let's see, unanimous, which is Tay versus your girl's favorite pizza boy. On that one, I got Tay winning it based on his lineup. Tay's lineup is pretty strong over here. Let me see what I got. So Tay got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Derrick Henry, Antonio Gibson, Mark Andrews, Devontae Harris, Ryan Suckup in New England's defense. So I thought that was pretty good in relation to Deshaun's team because Deshaun has Tom Brady, Robert Woods, Christian Kirk. Those receivers are a little bit weak. You need to clean that up a little bit. Got Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard should not be a running back too. Dawson Knox, I think, is pretty good. Damian Pierce should be running back too, and you should fix that flex and probably put somebody else in it. But I see what you're doing based on who you got. You got to run with what you got. Robbie Gould, kicker, Tennessee's defense. Yeah, based on what I said from Tay's team, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Devonta Smith. I don't think Burrow is beating Tom Brady as far as points go, but Jamar Chase is washing Robert Woods. Devonta Smith, I think, is probably going to perform better than Christian Kirk. Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler could be a wash there, but Antonio Gibson and Pollard probably a wash there as well. Well, Antonio Gibson is actually starting this game. Actually got a starting position back, so I think he might beat you there. And then Mark Andrews, of course, is better and projected more points than Dawson Knox. And Damian Pierce is projected less points than Damian Harris. So, yeah, unanimous is probably going to win that game. Deshaun, I know week 1 is not your best week right now, roster-wise, looking kind of shaky. Those projections are 121 to 110. And Tay was trying to bet you $20 in this matchup. So if you with it, big money's on the table. I encourage all bets in this league, man. Just run them through the chat and we'll just accept it and we'll go with it just to make sure everybody is, in on the bet and it's fair. And nobody backs out of the bet last minute and we'll be all good. So if anybody wants to bet me any given week, I'll let you know. But let me see how my team performs first before I get into all that. Next here in the last matchup, we got AU guys Yancey versus Sean's Bull team, which is Sean. In this matchup, I got Sean winning this one. Rosters being Sean's roster is Aaron Rodgers, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, Elijah Mitchell, Darren Waller, Tyler Lockett, Mac Prater, and Philadelphia's defense. On Yancey's team, we got Justin Herbert, Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Austin Hooper, Rashad Penny, Will Lutz, and San Francisco's defense. Both these teams are pretty damn good, if I was to say so myself. I think the differentiator is probably going to be at receiver here. I believe in Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb a little bit more than I believe in Jerry Jeudy. I mess with Terry McLaurin a lot. Last 2 seasons, I've had him on my fantasy team, and he's got me pretty far. But I don't know, as a starting receiver, maybe as a flex, I would believe in him, but I couldn't have him as my number 2 receiver. The Najee Harris and Joe Mixon is strong at running back. I like that a lot. And Rashad Penny at flex is pretty good as well. Austin Hooper is pretty light at the tight end position. And the defense is good, having the San Francisco defense against the Chicago Bears. But up top, the Aaron Rodgers, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, Elijah Mitchell, Darren Waller. All that there, I think, is going to outscore majority of the points. Tyreek Hill is going to outscore Jerry Jeudy for sure. CeeDee Lamb's, I think, is going to outscore Terry McLaurin. Saquon Barkley and Najee Harris may be a wash. Joe Mixon is for sure going to outscore Elijah Mitchell in my eyes for sure. But a little bit more of these down low guys. Darren Waller is going to make up some points for you. Philadelphia against Detroit. Yeah. Yancey, you do got a good team. It's just I feel like those receivers, man. He got a little bit better receivers than you, so I picked Sean for the first week. Highest scoring team projection. Of course, I'm going to get that shit to myself. Who you think I was going to give it to? Sean? Jason? Nah, me. I'm scoring the highest. My bench is going to outscore y'all benches. It don't matter. I'm just going to win. All right. You know what I'm saying? This year is my year back to back. You know what I'm saying? I back to back before. And, it's not that hard to do if you know what you're doing. And I do know what I'm doing when I do it right. You feel me? And I think I'm going to have y'all. Anybody who wants to bet me, come on, bring the bets. Just not week 1. I tell my team is like, I'm in like 3 leagues. Anything more than that, I feel like it's kind of irresponsible. I'm just kidding. It's not irresponsible, but I feel like it's too much, man. You might as well just watch every game. I can't be having every player in the NFL on my squad and have to watch every NFL game hella intently. Because when I have players that are playing, I'll be watching at least 3 games at a time with Red Zone or some shit like that. And I can't just watch every game. So I think I'm in 3 leagues now, 2 money leagues and 1 free league, even though the free league is kind of bogus. It's a 6-people family league. That's a whack. And I kind of stack my team to where I'm not going to lose. And they do 3 quarterbacks. So it's not going to be nothing but 2 $50 buy-in leagues, which is probably going to result in big prizes for me on both sides. So I'm trying to double up, you know what I'm saying, win 3 leagues, 3 leagues in 1 season and just call, should I retire after that or some shit? I don't know. Speaking of retirement, let me just close this podcast off with one last topic. I think the word just came out that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Anderson, the Spider Silva, in his next boxing match on Showtime. Why, I do not know. I know Anderson Silva has started his pro boxing career doing a couple of these celebrity events, but he is an MMA fighter, man. I feel like Jake Paul should be fighting real boxers. The last real boxer he was going to fight backed out due to Jake Paul trying to make him lose hella weight. I don't think there was a weight class. Was there a weight class when he fought Nate Robinson? Was there a weight class when he fought? Yeah, I think it was for Ben Askren, but Ben Askren looked hella fat. Tyron Woodley, it looked like he was bigger than Tyron Woodley too. So I don't know why when it came down to the actual heavyweight boxer who's actually won before, actually did some shit in the ring, it came down to a weight issue and shit like that. Because I feel like before you weren't drug testing or anything like that to see if he was on any steroids or anything like that. So why is a weigh-in actually mattering the most? You know what I'm saying? There was no weigh-in when they're trying to say that Logan Paul stole 3 rounds from Floyd Mayweather or nothing like that. Like, come on, he's way bigger than him. You're fighting a littler person, and I think that's the case with a couple of Jake Paul's fights too as well. Anderson Silva is not a small guy, but he's not a boxer. I mean, if he can kick or some shit like that, that would be interesting. And if it's big money, I just think a lot of these fighters that he fights, it's too easy to try to assume that it's like a scam or that these fighters are letting Jake Paul win for the payday, especially if they're retired fighters that don't really compete anymore and aren't really making a lot of money. I mean, I'm not counting his pockets or anything. Anderson Silva can be doing hella shit on the side to make money, but in my eyes, it's like he's fighting a whole bunch of guys that are just looking for a big payday and are just trying to fight and get famous, get the 15 minutes of fame for one last time before they actually fade into retirement. You know what I mean? I respect Anderson Silva to the fullest, and he's one of my favorite MMA fighters of all time. But for him to go out here and I don't know, sometimes it just looks like more of a show put on for Jake Paul more than an opportunity for everybody involved to monetarily advance themselves or just get some notoriety. I don't know. A lot of it seems staged to me, and I don't want Anderson Silva to go out like that. I want him to actually go out there and have a chance to win. And if he does win, you know, be respected for it. You know what I'm saying? He is in his 40s, you know what I'm saying? I think Jake Paul is in his like 20s. So there is an unfair advantage to this as well. But I don't know. He's doing whatever he can because boxing is his life now. I don't think he does much else. I don't think he can do much else. I'm sure he can do much else, but I think this is what he wants to do. He wants his fame and notoriety to come from boxing, and people not to think he's a pushover, and people to know that he can actually get out there and beat they at. I don't know though. I don't think he can actually get out there and fight because since he's a boxer now, his hands are licensed. But I don't know if that's real or was a myth back in the day. People just said that because they didn't want to get in fights or just wanted to seem more tough or some shit like that. But I'm sure they can kill people if they got in street fights, but I don't know. Ain't nobody fighting no more anyway. So I wouldn't even, as a boxer, go out there trying to fight nobody because they ain't gonna try to fight you. They'll get scared and try to shoot you. But the fight is Saturday, October 29th in Phoenix, Arizona on pay-per-view. You know how I'm gonna be watching it. I ain't paying no $50 for that, but hopefully some of the undercards are good because last time he had a fight, the undercards were actually pretty good. We got to see some fights that people are actually out there going at it and actually trying to, you know, make a name for themselves and not showboating around and coming out with big ass robots. I'm not hating on Jake Paul. I just want him to actually go out there and fight somebody actually real so he can get some notoriety, man, and actually people take him serious. If he keeps fighting these nobodies, I'm not saying Anderson Silva's a nobody again. It just needs to be somebody that's a boxer so he actually can weigh you on a scale of actual competition instead of all this shit with people that don't really only use their hands, and people have to learn how to box and learn how to not use their feet. They have to like reteach themselves how to fight with their hands only. You know, fighting basketball players that shoot basketballs, they don't box. You know what I mean? Should have fought Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, at least he's actually a established boxer. I mean, not established. He actually is known out there for training and stuff like that. He's been training for a long time. I thought he was gonna fight somebody, but he went back to football. I don't think he's playing right now. So pick up them gloves and maybe you can fight him next, Jake Paul. Because Anderson Silva, I don't know if that's it. I don't know if his name and credibility is good enough or big enough to get a whole bunch of people to watch this fight off that. What do you guys think? Are y'all gonna watch? I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna let y'all know what happened, of course. But if you don't want to watch, I'll be here for y'all to let y'all know what happened. But it's gonna be on Showtime. It's probably gonna be a bunch of money. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the week, guys. It's the part of the podcast where I like to let them know where you can find me at. It's SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. Like I say all the time, y'all know where to find me. Best of Bias podcast on this YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about it, man. We need more subscribers on there so we can get more bias to the more people out there, to the masses. I do drop it in podcast form, audio form, anywhere you find your favorite podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Anchor, of course. That's the main place. Again, I say this all the time. I don't know if people really listen to it, but I'm going to say it again anyway. Episode 1 through 98 is on the Best of Bias podcast. You'll see me and Hugo Twilight on the front cover there, chilling. And episodes 99 through 130 all are on Best of Bias podcast. And you'll see the Best of Bias Bear sitting there on the Anchor platform. 2 podcasts, both still belong to me. It just got split up once we ran into some snafus with the website, which will be up. Well, I'll have all the merch on there. I'm not doing a really good job of showing y'all the merch, so I want to make sure y'all get to see it. Here's the hats. Of course, you see the hats all over the place in the frame here. But these shirts, we still got a bunch of shirts available. Sorry, audio listeners, you can't see the shirts that I'm holding up, but we have the Best of Bias bearing electricity, you know what I'm saying, in a superhero form out there, just trying to be the best potter he can be. On the front of the shirts, of course, they have the initial BOBP, you know what I mean? And we also have a couple more with the actual face on it. big bear face, big bear energy. You know what I'm saying? We have gray, black, and I think we have a couple of white left too. So if you're interested in that, and we have a bunch of hats in a whole bunch of different styles and colors, more colors coming. We have a whole box over there with a bunch of new colors people have been asking for. Some yellows, some oranges, some greens, some blues. We got a bunch of different styles. Of course, like I just said, I got dad hats, trucker hats, beanies for when it gets cold. If it actually gets cold, it gets cold. You know what I'm saying? You put one of those on your head right now, you might just evaporate right away. But we do have buckets still. If you want to keep cool, you going to the beach, going on vacation soon, rep the Best of Bias out of town. Do all that. But all in all, hit me up. Let me know if you guys need anything. I got it for you at all times. Yeah, and that's it, man. Football season, you know what I'm saying? Yesterday was the game. I hope you guys are all excited. We got college tomorrow and the NFL on Sunday. We are finally here. You know what I'm saying? 4 months of stress, 4 months of heart-wrenching action. I'm wishing everybody's teams well. Hope you guys get start the season off 1-0, no injuries and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Hope all your drafts go well if you've already drafted. Hopefully you're doing all the tinkering and, getting some good waiver wire pickups, making some good trades, getting everything ready for week 1 because it is here. It'll be here before you know it. Thursday, you know what I'm saying? Thursday, it already happened. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so it's tomorrow, the first game. Get your lineup set. Don't be the guy to wait till the last minute and not set your lineup because in this league, in my league this year, we thinking about kicking people, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna warn you a couple of times. And then if you're not gonna set your lineup, you're gonna surrender that $50 and you're just gonna be out of the league because we ain't got time, for players giving away free victories and people winning and keeping people out of the championship that need to be there and out of the playoffs that need to be there just because somebody don't feel like setting their lineup and being lazy or sabotaging some other people. Fuck that. But yeah, man, it's the Best of Bias podcast. Do I got anything else? More podcasts, more content coming soon. We were supposed to have Jen on the podcast. She keep flaking. I don't know why she's running from this bias, but we did. We wanted to talk some political stuff with you. Lake Merritt's going through some crazy stuff. The algae in the water is killing the fish. This heat's probably not doing it any better. So a lot of stuff to talk about outside of the sports world and outside of the pop culture world. And I wanted those guests to get in here and do so. Of course, me and Deshaun, so they're trying to get in here and revamp the office to get into actually a podcast studio to where we can have it in person, get some people in here in the office to come here and record so we can have face-to-face interaction. It won't be us in separate places. It won't have to be over, Zoom or nothing like that. As much, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give you guys better quality. You know me, I'm always improving for y'all and always trying to be better for you guys. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for being here. It's the Best of Bias podcast. It's the part of the song where I ask where my theme song at, but I guess you guys already know where it's about to be. It's right here. Y'all have a good Friday. Enjoy, stay safe, and stay out of this goddamn heat and try not to melt. I'm out of here.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast.